Hello, and welcome to a video or series video, what might turn into a series of videos, I'm not quite sure yet, called the Filthy Casual's Guide to Legacy. Now, in this video, I will give very basic advice, very general advice about the format. If you want in-depth, detailed stuff, it's out there and easily found, and I encourage you to go read it. But I haven't really noticed that many beginner stuff for Legacy. The beginner casual stuff for Legacy, so I figured I'd make a video kind of talking about some of the stuff that I think is important. Now, this video is more intended for, as I said, casual or beginner players that just want to go to their local card shop and play some Legacy or a local F&M or whatever. Now, let's start with one of the biggest points in Legacy that turns a lot of people off the format, and this is just something that you have to accept because it's never going to change, especially for Legacy. Legacy is an expensive format. Unless you want to play something like Mono Red Burn, like me, or a $20 Infect, and yes, that is a deck, go look it up, you need to be prepared to drop about $400 to $700 on a Legacy deck. And that's usually just for a budget or cheap build. But keep in mind, most people can't just randomly throw together a Legacy deck anyway. Unless you've been playing Magic since like the start of Magic in 1990, whatever the fuck, you're not just gonna, most people aren't just gonna have the cards to throw whatever together. It took me about 3 years just to build my cheap ass mono red burn, and even then there's still like 2 or 3 cards that I need for it. Ensnaring Bridges, God, those are hard to find now. But yeah, and I've been building my Legacy deck over the course of 4 years, and it's still not technically done. It's playable, but it's not done. But yeah, keep that in mind. Just not everybody can just throw together a Legacy deck. So, but also keep in mind that once you have a Legacy deck, once you have a playable Legacy deck, it's there. Your cards aren't going to cycle out. Your cards aren't going to get banned, most likely, and you just have a deck that you can play in Legacy whenever you want. It's not going to change, it's not going to cycle out or anything. And that's kind of the appeal of, one of the many appeals of Legacy, is that the cards don't cycle out like they do in Standard or whatever. Once you have a Legacy deck, it's built and it's there. You don't have to keep buying new cards for it every so many months. But once you have it built, it's there, it's ready to go, it's there forever. Now, there's a really good article that I'll link to in the description below about, it's an article that had like 10 or 11 decks, then deck lists, all for like under $800. And they were pretty good decks. The article is a few years old. I want to say like 2 or 3 years old, maybe older than that, but it's still very relevant and a very good starting point. So check that out in the bottom description. Now, my second piece of advice is probably the most important advice you will hear anybody tell you, well, for anything really, but especially about Legacy. Play what you know and play what you are comfortable with. If you take somebody who's like the best Goblin player in the world and give him Stoneblade, he could know the basic concept behind Stoneblade, but he's not going to play it nearly as well as he would have played Goblins and be worse off in the long run for playing it, for playing Stoneblade. So, play what you know, play what you're comfortable with. If you know aggro, play aggro. If you know control, play control. If you're good with combo, play combo. Play what you know, play what you're comfortable with. If, like I said, if you take somebody who's like the best Goblin player in the world, they know all the nuances of the deck, and make them play Stoneblade, which can be arguably a better deck depending on various matchups and sideboard and whatnot. He might know the basic concepts, but he's not going to pilot it nearly as well as he would have played Goblins, and he's going to do worse off in the tournament or event or whatever than he would have if he just was stuck with Goblins. So again, play what you know, play what you're comfortable with. My third piece of advice might be a little hard to kind of pin down or understand, but as I said before, this video is more intended for casual or new players who won't be going to major Star City Opens or anything like that, mostly just sticking around their local card shops. And this piece of advice is learn your local meta. Due to the high cost of Legacy, not many people are going to have more than 1 or 2 decks that they can run in any given event. So chances are there's always going to be that one guy that plays Dredge, or that one guy that plays Elves, or the Affinity guy, whatever. Most people don't have more than one deck that they run in Legacy. So make sure you learn what people run. This can kind of go against what some people will tell you for the more advanced stuff in Legacy, especially if you're going to like a Star City Open or whatever. But if you're sticking to your local card shops, you're going to know what people are playing. So you can cater your entire sideboard around that, and that can give you a huge advantage, especially against people that even if, because there are a lot of people, even if they don't go to big Star City Opens or giant tournaments, they try and keep their sideboard very general. And I think that really hurts them in the long run. When, I mean, they know they're just gonna stick to the same local card shop. They know that there's only going to be 5 people and they're all going to be running the same decks. So cater your sideboard to that. It will give you a huge advantage. I don't understand why more people don't do this. Cater your sideboard to your local meta. Now, keep in mind, you only have 15 cards to work with, but so plan accordingly. And deck variety will kind of depend on your scene and how many people play and all that. But try and learn your local meta. I cannot stress this enough. Learn your local meta. In my card shop, there's always a guy that plays Elves. There's always a guy that plays Dredge. There's always a guy that plays Show and Tell. I have things in my sideboard to deal with that. Now, I don't know how popular those decks are across the just general Legacy meta, but I don't care because I don't go to big tournaments. And those people in my card shop always run the same decks. And it's like this for pretty much any other local card shop, unless you have one in like a major city or one that has like a huge scene with lots of different tournaments. Like I said, plan accordingly. It's going to depend on how big your scene is and whatnot. But cater your side deck to your scene. Learn your local meta. But anyway, that's all I could think of for this video. If I can think of anything else, I might make another video. If you guys come up with anything, any good tips, advice, whatever, for beginners or more casual players that want to get better, leave them in the comments section below. And don't be afraid to follow me on Facebook or Twitter. And don't be afraid to subscribe. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. Will out.